Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation. We are Group 4 from the International Business course and we are excited to share some interesting findings from a study on the institutional based view of international entrepreneurship with you today. So, this is us. In this presentation, we will go into greater detail about how the author Jafari and his colleagues emphasize context specific and universal factors and their impact on SMEs in both developed and developing nations. Later, we will explore the relevance of these insights to the dilemma. Let's dissect the case. The success and difficulties faced by small and medium sized businesses when they enter foreign markets are examined in this case study in relation to institutional factors. As markets continue to evolve due to globalization, it is essential to understand how institutions affect the success of entrepreneurs. To start, let's consider what we mean by institutions. According to the study, institutional theory is a multidimensional concept that talks about how institutional factors are fundamental to the function of societies and economies. They consist of the rules, norms, and systems that govern behaviors and interactions, and they can significantly influence the success or challenges faced by SMEs in international markets. The institutional factors are categorized into three broad domains: the cultural norms, societal ideals, and behavioral expectations in a particular setting are known as sociocultural factors. Government policies, legal systems, and regulatory frameworks that affect business operations are examples of political and legal factors. Economic factors include the state of the economy, the accessibility of resources, and the dynamics of the market all have an impact on entrepreneurship. These factors may be context specific, applying only to the circumstances of a region or nation, or they may be universal, impacting SMEs regardless of their location. Understanding these factors are crucial for SMEs that want to expand globally. Before diving into the findings, let me briefly explain about the methodology of the research. The authors used a method known as multiple case studies. 10 SMEs were chosen for each case, 5 from Italy and 5 from Iran, using a systematic one on one interview process lasting 60 to 90 minutes. Purposive sampling was used to choose these cases, guaranteeing that participants could offer in depth insights into the topic being studied. The entire interview procedure had been recorded to guarantee a more accurate record. The accuracy of the data collected was ensured by transcriptions of the recordings and observer notes of the 10 in depth interviews. The authors also included secondary material in their research, such as corporate documents, brochures, and internet sources to the interviews in order to enhance the results. Based on the primary and secondary data, the authors recognized six constructs that informed the development of the code manual. Sociocultural factors were termed as Code 1, political and legal factors as Code 2, and economic factors are given Code 3 to 6. During the interviews, researchers discovered that men dominated Iranian businesses, whereas Italian businesses had a mix. Also, Italian business owners were 43 years old on average, whereas Iranian managers were 39. Now, let's see how the institutional factors play out differently in Italy and Iran. As we can see here, Italy is a wealthy, developed nation with a diversified industrial sector and a strong entrepreneurial history. Family owned businesses are key with a focus on formality, enduring partnerships, and hierarchical decision making. However, challenges include high unemployment, insufficient support for new businesses, political instability, and inadequate funding for early stage entrepreneurship. A significant portion of entrepreneurial activities in Italy does not involve exports. As we can see, 55.3% of established and 55% of early stage entrepreneurs do not export products. Now, let's take a look at Iran. Iran is a developing country with an upper middle income that depends on the hydrocarbon industry, such as oil and gas. With a focus on expertise and hierarchical business structures, it presents programs like KARAD to promote entrepreneurship, but obstacles are brought about by government interference, inflation, sanctions, and the influence of Sharia law. Only 30% of the nation's GDP comes from small and medium sized businesses, and most entrepreneurs, whether they're just starting out or are well established, do not export. As we can see here, it says at least 89% of the early stage and 87% of established entrepreneurs do not export anything to foreign countries. Only 3% of early stage and nearly 4% of established entrepreneurs export anything between 25 and 100% of their goods. Thus, Iran proves not to be an export country. Now, let's talk about the findings from this research. Neither country's SME internationalization is influenced by any universal socio-cultural factors. Nonetheless, networking is essential to internationalization for SMEs in both countries. In Italy, sustaining strong long-term partnerships with stakeholders, including trade associations and industry regulators, is frequently essential to company success. In an interview with the owners, 4 out of 5 companies stated that networking with industry authorities such as the World Bank and European Union, is crucial for success overseas. To market their goods and services, SMEs in Iran place a strong emphasis on attending international conferences and exhibits. One of the most important ways to establish collaborations and foster trust in Iran is to participate in international exhibitions. Now, let's take a look at the legal and political aspects in these both countries. Geopolitical issues affect both nations because of trade restrictions and sanctions, the effects are more noticeable in Iran. Despite having less restrictions, Italian businesses still have to deal with problems like dual use technology laws that make exporting to some countries more difficult. In terms of context based factors, custom taxes and other domestic support problems are significant obstacles imposed by the Iranian government. The government imposes heavy import tariffs and custom duties in order to safeguard its own industries. This may help the local producers, but it may make it harder for SMEs to compete internationally. For both Italian and Iranian SMEs, export compliance is crucial, especially because of the administrative and legal risks associated with international rules and regulations. Therefore, government imposed trade restrictions that hinder internationalization are a problem in both situations. In terms of the economic factors, SMEs in Italy and Iran face competition in global marketplaces, especially from competitors with lower prices, making it harder for them to compete. According to the context based factors, businesses in Iran are under more pressure to supply high quality goods, grow their market share, and create unique products. Iranian SMEs are dealing with standardized market demands, which enables them to provide products with less regional variations. In terms of economic stability, Italy is a much better place than Iran, as Iranian SMEs may be at a competitive disadvantage in global markets due to problems with quality and innovation. This situation is further deteriorated by exchange rate fluctuations faced by Iran, which is affecting the ability of the Iranian SMEs to remain competitive in international market. All things considered, both countries consider highly skilled human resources to be crucial. Now, let's talk a bit about the domestic resource advantages that both of these countries have. While SMEs in Iran depend on younger and less expensive human resources, companies in Italy profit from having knowledgeable and experienced employees. Iran's SME benefit greatly from its abundant natural resources such as copper, gas, and oil, particularly when it's come to exporting. Entrepreneurs that want to grow internationally need to be aware of the distinct political, social, and cultural context of the target markets, such as Iran should concentrate on developing more innovative products, and Italy should establish connection with official authorities, which are crucial tactics for Italy's global expansion. So, what can entrepreneurs learn from this? International entrepreneurs must first understand that institutional environments present both opportunities and challenges. Long term success and access to new markets can be achieved by understanding and adapting to this situation. To succeed internationally, entrepreneurs have to overcome cultural, legal, and economic challenges that exist in every nation. Now, I'd like to hand it over to my teammate who is going to explore how Lululemon manages its unique institutional environment and uses strategies for international expansion, tying the findings we discussed so far.
Hello everyone, this is Fabia. So far, we have been looking at the case from the author's point of view. Now we'll take another look at the case, but this time from the company, aka Lululemon's perspective. Lululemon was established in 1998 in Vancouver, Canada, by entrepreneur Chip Wilson. After hearing about yoga a few times, the founder took a yoga class where he realized that many active young women participating didn't have many options for breathable and comfortable workout wear that was still fashionable and flattering. He was inspired to start a business designing women's athletic wear. That was the birth of Lululemon. Lululemon's name stems from Wilson's experience with Japanese customers who were intrigued with company names that contained the letter L. He played around with many variations of names that starts with an L until deciding on Lululemon, spelled with a lowercase l for a relaxed vibe. Before entering the global platform, Lululemon once used to be an SME. Their international entrepreneurship strategy balances universal determinants like a focus on wellness and e-commerce with context-based strategies such as cultural customization and regulatory adaptation. Its premium brand positioning appeals to affluent customers in advanced economies, while targeted strategies in developing countries drive growth in emerging markets. Lululemon's success showcases its ability to adapt to diverse economic, cultural, and political landscapes, cementing its status as a global leader in the athletic apparel industry. To have a better understanding of the company's internationalization strategy, we have considered USA as the developed country and China as the developing one where Lululemon operates. Looking at the universal determinants, Lululemon's global expansion strategy has led to substantial revenue increases. In the third quarter of 2024, international sales surged by 33% year over year, with China's net revenue alone rising by 39% to $318.3 million. This growth underscores the universal importance of tapping into new markets to drive revenue. On the other hand, the company aims to double its men's business by 2026, reflecting a strategic move to diversify product offerings and cater to a broader customer base. This approach is crucial universally for sustainable growth and competitiveness. Now let's have a look at the context-based determinants from the perspective of the developing market, which is China in our case. First comes cultural adaptation. Lululemon's success in China is partly due to aligning with the country's growing focus on health and wellness, tailoring its marketing strategies to resonate with local cultural trends. On the other hand, the rapid store expansion, the company expanded from around 10 stores in 2018 to over 130 by 2024 in China, demonstrating an aggressive physical presence to build brand recognition and meet local demand. Here we can see Lulu's regional store counts in the year 2022 and the year 2023. In the States, Canada, China, and Asia Pacific, we can see a positive growth in the number. And the trend follows even if we look at the last 12 years data, where we can see a steady growth in the number of their worldwide stores. Coming to the context-based determinants, from the US point of view, there are market saturation management and brand diversification. In the US, Lululemon faces a plateauing market, prompting strategies to maintain growth such as enhancing digital platforms and customer experience. On the other hand, to attract a broader demographic, particularly men, Lululemon is expanding its product lines beyond women's yoga wear, addressing the specific preferences of consumers in developing markets. Lululemon's journey, starting as an SME to an almost 10 billion worth company, was and still bumpy. They have faced obstacles both in general and country-specific levels. Coming to the universal barriers, which are barriers that affect Lululemon's internationalization regardless of the market type. We have competitive pressures like intense competition and price sensitivity, because Lululemon faces significant competition from global athletic apparel brands such as Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, which are already well established in both developed and emerging markets. Price sensitivity is competitors often offer similar products at lower price points, which can hinder Lululemon's premium pricing strategy. There are regulatory challenges, of course, like there are complex import export laws, trade agreements, which can increase costs and delay operation. Also, to ensure products meet local safety, quality, and labeling standards is also a universal challenge. There is supply chain disruption, hurdles like dependence on international supply chain, making Lululemon vulnerable to disruptions such as the one caused by the COVID-19 pandemic or geopolitical tensions. Also, comparing the list of countries in which Lululemon's products are made with the list of the worst countries for workers' rights, as measured by the Global Rights Index, shows that Lululemon works with suppliers in 5 out of the top 10 worst countries for workers' right violations. There is brand awareness problem as well, because in newer markets, Lululemon may struggle to build the same level of brand loyalty and awareness that it enjoys in North America. Based on the success or failure in overcoming such universal determinants or like hurdles, Lululemon eventually witnessed a growth or degrowth in sales in the last 3 years, as we can see here. These barriers are specific to countries with emerging economies like China, India, and Brazil. Our case will be focused on China, of course. So, looking at the context-based barriers, there is cultural differences because Lululemon's focus on premium, performance-driven products may not align with priorities of price-sensitive consumers in China. There are health and wellness trends. The yoga and athleisure culture, which Lululemon thrives on, is still, latent in developing countries. It's not that much celebrated there yet. There are economic factors in terms of price sensitivity and currency fluctuation, which derives from exchange rate volatility and also the preference of people from the developing countries towards affordable products might pose a problem for brands like Lululemon. There are market entry barriers, of course, in terms of retail space cost and infrastructure challenges, because establishing a physical store in prime location can be prohibitively expensive in developing urban centers. On the other hand, poor logistics infrastructure in some developing regions can hinder product delivery and supply chain efficiency. Let's have a look at the graph here, where we can see that in the Chinese market as of June 2023, Lululemon is just an infant with only 100 overall store in front of athletic wear giants like Adidas, Nike, Puma, and Under Armour. Looking at the context-based barriers from the US point of view, we can consider market saturation because Lululemon faces limited growth potential in developed markets where athleisure has already reached high adoption rates, of course. There is consumer fatigue because established consumers may seek differentiation, making it harder for Lululemon to maintain its edge. There are legal and regulatory constraints like strict labor and employment laws, compliance with sustainability needs. There are some standards and expectations that are costly and complex in those countries. There are also e-commerce competition from online marketplaces like Amazon, which pose a huge challenge for Lululemon to maintain direct to consumer engagement. There is a slow growth in core segments such as the women's segment. Lululemon is already experiencing a slowdown in the women's business segment, which has been growing at double-digit rates since the year 2003. Despite a 6% growth in the second quarter of last year, the company attributes the disappointment to a lack of new colors, prints, and patterns in its product lineup. Now let's have a look at how to overcome the barrier. Lululemon should address these barriers through strategies such as expanding digital presence by leveraging e-commerce to reach consumers in markets with limited physical stores. They can use localization to adapt products and marketing campaigns to align with the local consumer preferences. They should take more sustainability initiatives by meeting regulatory and consumer demands for environmentally friendly products. They should build more strategic partnerships by collaborating with local businesses to ease market entry and build awareness. In conclusion, Lululemon's internationalization efforts are met with distinct challenges in both developed and developing markets. In developed markets, market saturation, intense competition, and shifting consumer preference pose significant hurdles. In developing countries, economic factors, regulatory complexities, and the need for cultural adaptation add layers of complexity to expansion strategies. Addressing these barriers requires a nuanced approach, balancing global brand identity with local market dynamics. Thanks for staying with us till the end of our presentation. Bye.